Chairman.
The Honourable Dr Nick Smith.
Mr Chairman, this bill and part is an important part of this government's agenda for improving New Zealand's environmental architecture around the Environmental Protection Authority that we created when we first came to government, and now with this environmental reporting bill. I do note that we are the only OECD country to not have a formal system of environmental reporting, and I think there's a broad consensus across the Parliament that that is an anomaly that we must address. Mr Speaker, the government has agreed to quite extensive amendments through the Select Committee process to improve this bill, but in those speeches I've heard both from Ruth Dyson and from Megan Woods, I'm reminded of a column I read a couple of days ago about the difficulty for the opposition, that they've become the no party, that they're always seeking to find some excuse for... Order. They were very broad speeches.
And what I think if the member was listening to the Speaker at 2 o'clock today, he would have learned a couple of things. And one of them is that the member doesn't interject when the chair's on his feet, as he just did. And also the question of relevance is a question for the chairs. Now, the members had a minute, and he will remember that he's had predecessors in the chair who have been replied to, but as many members in the House are aware, this debate is one which after a period of time in each part gets tighter. And I think it is now time for the member to start addressing this part and how it fits with what's been accepted at second reading.
Mr Speaker, members of the opposition have gunned in on section 18 of the bill, and they're effectively saying that is why they are opposing and will not be supporting the bill. And what section 18 does is give the government the requirement to pass regulations around the topics that are covered by environmental reporting. It requires that there is a formal process of consultation with the public, with the government statistician, with the Commissioner, with local authorities and with iwi. And I'd also point out that there is a further check that when the environmental reporting is produced, the Parliamentary Commissioner for the Environment also gets to report and to comment on the report. Now, where I think members of the opposition are wildly exaggerating section 18, I want to draw to their attention their claim that that brings into question the whole integrity of this environment reporting bill. I want to make the comparison with section 15 of the Statistics Act that was passed by a Labor government. It says, at the direction of the Minister, the statistician is required to collect or cease collection of statistics of any kind at the direction of the Minister. Now, as a consequence, are members opposite saying that the statistics that are produced by that department have absolutely no integrity? Here is a provision in the law passed by them that has far more powerful veto than section 18, and I haven't heard a whimper, I haven't heard a question, and I think that just shows how partisan their response is to section 18. I was also interested to compare section 18 of this part with what's in the Australian state of the environment reporting. I haven't heard any member from either side of the House say that the Australian state of the environment reporting is a nonsense, yet it is done by prescription, by regulation set down by the Minister. There's no requirement even in the Australian legislation for any consultation prior to such regulations being gazetted. Nor is there any requirement in Australia for the Parliamentary Commissioner for the Environment to provide an audit on those topics that are provided. So the comparison with our own Statistics Act, the comparison with other OECD countries' systems for state of the environment reporting shows that what the government is doing in section 18, as amended by the Select Committee, is absolutely proper and responsive. It means that the Minister of the day will be accountable for those regulations, that there is an open, transparent process around how those topics are selected, and in my view, well, the member says there's not. Well, I would refer the member specifically to section 18, where they have to be published, where there has to be consultation with a whole range of players in terms of the government statistician, Parliamentary Commissioner for the Environment, the public iwi authorities and local authorities. And that is why the government says that clause 18 is robust and sound and should be supported.